No, I do not count the thumbnail as a spoiler because when the Walking Dead Season 9 trailer drops, we will see what Rick and gang look like anyway. Now, with that out of the way, we got some awesome images, and do not worry, there's no spoilers in these images. If you're new here, we do not cover spoilers, so you don't have to worry about hunting me down on social media and sending me spoiler information or images or leaks. We don't want them. Thank you, but we don't want them. That's not what we do here. And if you are familiar with this channel, you can fear not. There is no spoilers in these images. It's just a look at some, visual changes for just some of the cast members. A lot of them look, just how they looked coming out of the last season. The reason we're saying that, for those who don't know, is we're going into a time skip of a few years, so some characters will have a different appearance slightly. And I apologize for the background noise. My daughter is going nuts playing Fortnite, and I haven't fully soundproofed the new recording area. Well, we haven't even gotten started with it, but that is coming. That's coming. So for now, I apologize. Let's dive into these images. The very first one, yes, guys, I did see this. They post this every year to celebrate that filming has begun. And we can kind of see a blurry image of the hilltop and how it's growing using that book, The Key to the Future. I didn't do a video on this single image. I like to let the information pile up because there's not really much here. We know the hilltop's going to grow, so I kind of feel like just doing a video on this image alone would have been wasting your time. Anyway, now these images right here, not the cast, but it is the atmosphere. They are recording outside a government building. There was a judge, I believe, who posted these images, and that's another reason why we are discussing these. They weren't filming in a secretive location. They were out in the public more so than they usually are recently, since there's a lot kept secret with the war and Negan and yada yada yada, but this seemed like it was a lot more public, so I'm not too concerned about any spoilers or anything in the image that we shouldn't be seeing. Now, here's just a couple more of the cars. Really love the atmosphere, but let's dive into the images of the cast. We got a new face on the left here, probably some kid, some background character from the Hilltop. We got Aaron, who actually looks a lot like New Beginning Rick here with his longer beard and shorter hair. Another background character from the Hilltop. Maybe. We don't really know, but I'm guessing. We have Tara here, Ezekiel, and Jesus. Now, in the comic, Jesus had this man bun, and it looks like they're putting it up in a bun, but in the back of it had like a ponytail. I don't know anything about hair or what the hell that's called, but whatever. Now, in the comic, he had this really cool outfit on when he went on patrol. I kind of hope we do see that. Daryl here looking exactly how he has looked the past few seasons, even rocking the bandana, like back in, season 3 of The Prison. We have Gabriel looking like a freaking Amish person, right? Amish, yeah, I think I got that right. And then Anne here, and the wagon and horses. We're going to discuss where they might be going in a second, but I do believe they are traveling maybe to, one of the other communities, or they are gathering things together for the fair. The fair is something that they did in the comic book, and I hope we begin this new season with a celebration like the fair. And we see parts of the fair that were from when Rick and Michonne went on that run. Remember when they ran into that fair and got all the guns? Just touching back to previous seasons. I like that idea. But here we go. We got Rick and Michonne, and I think Rick looks perfect with the New Beginning look. Now, in the comic, he has this really big beard and the short hair, and I know a lot of fans were like, we like the New Beginning, Rick look, but the beard is just a bit too long, and then right before the fair, he actually cut it in the comic. It grew long again, but fans kind of got used to that look, and now that's the new look for Rick. But I think for the TV show, they did good with this. You got the Rick beard. It's not out of control. They got the communities on lockdown. They're having a time of peace. There's no reason for him to have, the murder beard going on. And Michonne looks as, perfect as ever. Next up, we got Carol. Now, Carol has a little bit of a haircut. You can't really tell because she's got this hat on. I'm not sure if this hat is going to actually be in the show or if they were rehearsing and she just wore the hat because of the sun. Here's another image of Michonne. We can see Jesus in the back, Father Gabriel, and then Tara. And if they are filming around this point in time or rehearsing these shots, it's likely a caravan of them traveling, like I said, going to a community or somewhere else. Now here is Carol eating an orange, and a fig Newton, and a coffee with her new haircuts. At least I think this is new, right? It looks a little shorter than it was last season, but she's still kind of got the kingdom armor going on. So likely they're just wearing armor, not because they expect any threats at this time, but just because they're traveling, and you never really know with walkers and stuff like that. We got King Ezekiel, same idea here. You know, he's got armor on. They're not going into battle, but they are ready for some walker threats, or maybe even some hostiles. You never know, random little bandits, but that's the idea. And then we have one of Maggie with longer hair. We got Enid, we got Sadiq, and is that, what's her name from, I keep forgetting her name, from Oceanside. This is pretty cool, and this is what makes me think they are planning, preparing, going, traveling, and it has something to do with the fair, because we have all the communities together. We have Kingdom people, we have Oceanside people, we have Hilltop people. They are not all together for nothing. You know, this is all of them. It's not like Oceanside and Hilltop, okay, maybe they just came to visit, yada, yada, yada. This is every single community so far. Are they sitting on car seats? I friggin' love that. That's such a great idea. Look at that. If you look at behind Enid and even Sadiq a little bit, you can tell that it looks like a car seat. It looks like they ripped a car seat out and they, you know, put it in this wagon somehow. I mean, it wouldn't be too hard. Just bolt it down. I like that. That's neat. Here's the one guy, Savior guy, but again, he has been living at the Hilltop. A lot of fans think he's going to take the place of a character named Dante in the comic. I do want to see Dante in a comic, so that's a topic for another day. But you guys let me know if you know what I'm talking about. Put your thoughts and opinions about that in the comment box down below. Another image of Michonne here, Jesus in the background. I'm loving this with them on the horses and stuff. Here's an image of Tara. She actually looks a little worried about whether the horse is going to boot her off or not. And I think that's Ross next to her. Ross, you know, Aaron. His real name's Ross. And then Jesus in the background. We got another one of Rick and Michonne, and then Carol. She might be wearing that hat, unless they're still rehearsing. She might rock that hat in the TV show, which might be paying homage to Andrea. Andrea had a similar hat than that, but she wore a poncho and other stuff like that. But they could include that as a little, you know, paying a little respect to the comic book. All right, so that is the spoiler-free images so far that we have. Now, I think the biggest hint or nugget that we can pull from this to use some speculation would be that all the community is together. Like I said before, they wouldn't all be together unless they're fighting another enemy, or they're coming together for the fair that we did see in the comic book, and we most likely will see a remixed version of that on the show. This could be them making the final preparations for the fair. Not like they're traveling for it, but they're making that final preparation. Now, in the comic book, just to clarify a few things, a lot of the community got together beforehand and they set up sleeping quarters, and then the fair was a few days after. So all the communities got together, they made the final preparations, and then the fair was a few days later. This is what I'm thinking that is. This is the communities coming together, and then in a few days we're going to have the fair. During that few days, we're getting an introduction to these characters and what they've been doing over the past few years, and some new characters and then new threats. They'll probably slowly weave that into the storyline. And if you don't know, they are casting for a character named Magna. Now, Magna is the very first character we saw in the New Beginning, and because they're already filming and they're casting Magna now, it leads me to believe we most likely won't see Magna in them the same way we did in the comic, unless the casting news is late and they already cast for Magna. That could be possible because we do know from previous discussions with people on the cast that when they were cast, they flew out a few days after, or a week after, 2 weeks after, and they got right to filming. So that is possible that the casting announcement was just a little bit late and Magna's actually there filming or has already filmed. It is possible, but it's most likely that Magna will appear later on in episode 1, maybe even episode 2, which would really make me wonder what role would they give her now, because in the comic she was the vehicle that they used to reintroduce us to the communities and the characters. It was a very clever way. It worked really well in the comic book, and I think it could work really well in the TV show. But we'll have to wait and see what direction they want to go with the remixed version of that storyline. But like I said, you guys leave your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. Give us some questions. What are you most curious about? I'll pull some of your questions and we'll kickstart the Q&As for the off season coming up. All right, guys, thoughts and opinions in that comment box. I'm done talking. It's your turn.